pass to Johnson. Johnson still going. Dummies again. Johnson into the one to Brown. Brown goes in to score.
Ali Salvia down the touchline. Oh, this is unbelievable. They're gonna win it. Oh, what scenes here, what scenes. LeBron James, a shot at history. LeBron stands alone. The NBA's all-time scoring record now belongs to LeBron James.
All right, we're on Surly Talk Sports and a bit of a short and sharp episode today. Battling a bit, the voice off the back of a bit of bender-itis. Had a massive weekend last weekend. Of course, my last home game for the mighty Coat. Shout out to Tribe too, who changed the name of Harvey Wright, our home ground, to Ben Searle Park for the day on the app. I think it's actually still up under that on the app too. They haven't changed it back yet. But what an absolute honour that was. And credit to Razor and Riley who made that happen, or at least planted the seed to make that happen as well. Two of the greats right there, but a huge weekend. The boys got the dub, managed to score a meaty as well, which is quite rare. That's actually 2 this season, so a nudie run is not on the cards for me, but we got the dub on the field, and then we certainly got it off the field as well. Had a bit of a double denim night, the boys centre, and as a result, I am really battling in the voice. Sound a bit like Darren Lockyer, to be fair, so we've condensed her up this week. Plus, I'm also making my League Lounge debut tonight. By the time you're listening to this, it would have been last night. So hopefully you enjoyed it. It's always been a big goal of mine ever since I started this podcast to get on Sky Sports and to be able to talk about rugby league on Sky. That's a real honour. To do it alongside 2 of the greats as well, my mate SJ and then also Dal. It was a real privilege. So hopefully you enjoyed the show. But again, that is why I'm compressing down today to save the voice for that one. TAB code this week, they've come through. We've got one for you after having last week off, and this week it is built around the All Blacks versus France game. Of course, Warriors bye, so we've jumped across the Rugby Union, and it's a first try scorer bonus back promo. So enter the bonus code AB25. All Blacks 25, but it's AB25. Then place a first try scorer bet on the All Blacks versus France game. And if your player doesn't score first, you'll get your money back as bonus cash up to $20, limit of 1 per customer. Again, the code is AB25, and that applies to a first try scorer bet in the All Blacks versus France game. Thanks to the TAB, really appreciate their support. I know these codes are always well received by the listeners, so punch that in and then have a flutter on that game on Saturday night. You never know, you might hit on a first try scorer at some juicy odds, and if not, worst case scenario, you get your $20 back in bonus cash. Almost a bit of a win-win right there. One last bit of admin too before we get into the pod and talk some NRL. Surly Talk Sports Golf Day, of course, announced the other week. This year it's in partnership with Canadian club Whiskey and Wedges. Tickets are going on sale this Sunday. I got an announcement post on Friday night across the Surly socials to give you some more details around it too. But if you're listening to the pod right now, you get a bit of an exclusive. So tickets will go on sale this Sunday. More deets dropping on Friday, as I mentioned, but start to assemble your crew, your team of 4. Tickets are sold in teams. It's sold out in, 25-30 minutes last year. It's going to sell out even quicker this time, I have a feeling. It's going to be bloody good fun. All the usual antics as well. The closest to the pin, longest drive. There's some sick prizes to give away. We've got the party hole going on. It's going to be an absolute vibe, so start forming your team and stay tuned for that announcement Friday night to get yourself in the mixer. It is going to be truly one of the greats. But without further ado, let's get straight into talking all things rugby league, God's game. Rugby League Round 17 dished up some good games actually. It started with that Thursday night clash between the Panthers and the Bulldogs. That was an absolute doozy. Not going to tick off every game because there were some poo slingers in there as well, but there were 4 that caught the eye. Storm versus Sharks, of course, Dolphins versus the Bunnies, Broncos versus the Warriors, and Panthers versus Dogs. So I'll touch on those a little more in depth. Shout out to Jerome Luai as well, ruled out against the Manly Gulls due to the old Susan Boyle, a real stitcher up from the Tigers medical team there. Surely they could have said he was out with illness or made up some fake injury to rule him out, rather than revealing that the bloke probably doesn't have the best hygiene. Good to see he's recovered though, ready to go for State of O. So shout out to our boy, our number 6 for the Mighty Blues, Jerome Luai. But that Panthers-Dogs game, an absolute spectacle last Thursday night. A great taste of finals footy. It came early in this one, 8 points to 6. It finished with the Panthers getting the nod. In the end, that charge down try from Nathan Cleary proved to be the difference. And I did notice in commentary, Vossi with a crazy call. Once he dotted that down, he said the Panthers have found a way to get their noses and chins in front in this game. Straight shots there at the people's chin from Vossi, which did make me giggle. But this was just a high quality game. Two sides that love the grind going at it. Of course, the Dogs, they've adopted so much of that Panthers style of play. And this was just two teams that I 100% to be going deep into September, October footy, going at it, hammer and tongs. I love that battle as well between Casey McLean and Stephen Crichton. They were exchanging words all throughout this one. I thought it was an interesting call from the Dogs not to take the 2 points. Almost 1 minute, 2 minutes to go, 30 out, sideline, not an easy kick, but in a game where points have been so hard to come by, it was a brave call by Crichton to turn down the 2, kick for touch, and try come away with a meaty. In the end, it backfired on them. Wouldn't have been an easy nudge by all means, but geez, you'd have to back them in at least to have an attempt and see how they go. I thought Connor Tracy was massive in this one, a couple great try savers. I loved the sequence as well, the set sequence that the Bulldogs rolled out for their try. Early offloads, they basically went the end of the field, playing around the Panthers, then through the middle, a nice little snipe from Reid Marnie, and up the guts they go, resulting in a try to Jacob Preston. Interesting, the Dogs, again, the way they used Lockie Galvin, you'd have to think at some stage shortly they're going to rip the Band-Aid off and chuck that bloke straight into the starting side. I'm surprised it's taken them so long to do it. I reckon they need to stop beating around the bush here. They subbed Reid Marnie on the weekend, who was arguably one of their best players on the paddock, just to get Galvin Klein on the field. I'm not sure if that was the best call from Serraldo, and I reckon they need to bite the bullet and just start the bloke now and roll out that spine and that halves combo that they want to use come finals footy. Well done to the Panthers, though. I think it's very clear for everyone to see that they are back now. A massive win for them. Second game to touch on, Broncos Warriors, 26 points to 12 at Suncorp. A pretty rough day for our boys. 18-0 at halftime. Thought the Broncos killed us in that first 40 minutes. Errors out of our own end, some poor discipline really did cost us. That try they scored right on halftime, shit did that hurt. Some pretty average refereeing calls too. Personally, I thought Chanel Harris-Tavita scored that try, especially when it got sent up as a try. I didn't think there was compelling evidence to suggest that he hadn't got the Steadon on the grass. But in the end, we were our own worst nightmare, and I see Warriors fans blowing up about calls. There were a fair few of them too. But at times as well, you make your own luck. And I thought we were pretty poor, completed at 75%. Every time we've completed at that amount or less this year, we've lost. We just weren't able to roll through our sets and apply pressure on the Broncos. I thought our second half was a lot better. And at times our attack shape created opportunities too. We just weren't able to ice them. That pass from Tamade Martin to Ed Kossi, probably an opportunity that went begging there as well. We had to deal with a shit ton of adversity. Losing Met and CNK, both of those injuries hurt a lot. And shout out to Tamade Martin, of course, named in the 14, came on, played 9 when Wade went off for an HIA, then he played 7 when Met went down, and he played 1 when CNK was out. 3 of the most important roles on the field in your spine, and he played them all very well. That try saver he pulled off was massive too. Of course, the biggest talking point from this game, though, had to be Lukey Met's ACL injury, and this has caught headlines basically ever since it went down on Saturday. Incredibly gutting for Luke. What a season he was having, of course, leading the Dally M ladder before voting went behind closed doors. And I was just so stoked to see him finally stringing consecutive games together. He's had a rough run of injuries in the past. And he was just basically doing everything he said he was going to do in the preseason, which was what impressed me the most. He said he wanted the 7 jersey to lead the team around the paddock, and that's exactly what he was doing. He'd managed to find a great balance between his running game as well as was running the team. His kicking game was going great guns, short and long, ball playing elite, his speed elusive. He was scoring tries as well. So to see him go down in an ACL injury in this one was just heartbreaking. As soon as you saw him get carried off, because initially, much like the commentators, I thought it was ribs. I thought he'd been injured by that shot from Pia Cora, but once you saw he couldn't put any weight on that leg, straight away your heart dropped. Of course, we all had our fingers crossed it was going to be MCL or something a lot less severe than an ACL. 9 months, the second time he's done the ACL on that leg as well. It's just heartbreaking for the bloke. I really do hope that we were deep in negotiations with him and we still honour that contract, which I'm sure the Warriors will, because he deserves it. Rest up, Lukey Matt. Can't wait to see him come back next year and continue to pick up where he left off this season. I still think he's got a lot to go in his game to reach his full potential. That's just how good he is. And I still back him to get to that level despite this heartbreaking and major injury. But all the talk since the ACL and Medi going down has been around who comes in for him. And for me, there's 3 options moving forward. The first one, you slot Tanner Boyd straight into partner CHT. The second one, Tamaiti goes into partner CHT. And then the third one, you go with the Cup combo, which for me, I personally think is the less likely of the 3, but it does have its merits. Tamaiti Martin into 6, Tanner into 7, Chanel at 14. I just think Chanel is playing too well to do that to him, but he is a bigger body than Tamaiti. He offers versatility, could play lock as well at a stretch. Genuinely though, I think those first 2 options, or one of those first 2 options, is certainly the more realistic. For me, I'd probably chuck Tanner straight in there. I think he deserves it. He's won every game he's played in New South Wales Cup this year. He's gone 13 from 13. Goal kicking at just under 81%. Got a really strong kicking game on him, averaging just over 300 kick metres per game. He's had 16 try assists, 10 line break assists. He's tackling at just under 88% efficiency. He's gone great guns since moving here by all accounts. Webby credits him as the hardest trainer, which I think is just contagious. And when you talk to the players, he's just had a massive impact on the squad, despite not having laced up for the NRL side this year. And I think he's earned the opportunity. I certainly think he'll be in the 17, although I see a lot of people saying Tamaiti at 7, Healy now onto the bench, which has its merits as well. I just think Tanner, he's earned a crack, and I think his kicking game could prove crucial for us. CHT, his long kicking game has been really good. We saw Leka score off a nice bomb on the weekend, but I think having the 2 genuine long kick options would be great for us. Just allow us to play the game in the right areas. Let our forwards muscle up through the middle, complete at a high rate, and we will score points off the back of that. This team has been built off grit and hard work, and to me, from the outside looking in, just seems like Tanner epitomizes all of that. But both options, genuinely great options. We all know what Tamaiti can do. We saw glimpses of it on the weekend. He's done it for us for so long too, wearing that 7 jersey. So either way, whoever comes in, I back them 100%. I also saw some suggestions around Tane at the back. Then we have Roger on the wing still with Pomps. Capewell into the centres alongside Rocco Berry too. So it's good to see Warriors fans getting creative. And I certainly think Tane will wear the 1 jersey at the back. Yeah, look, I back that next man up mentality, and it is pretty cliche, but I genuinely believe we have the cattle to do it. When you look at this cup side, a number of these boys will be playing NRL at any other club, so now is their opportunity for them to shine, and whoever gets the nod in the 7 has an opportunity, a genuine chance now to guide this team around the paddock for the rest of the competition, deep into finals footy, and perhaps create some history. How good would that be? Back to the game though, unfortunate, again, improved second half. We just weren't dialed in the first half. Some rough refereeing calls, but you make your own luck at times, and I thought we were ill-disciplined throughout this game too. So I think you just got to flush that. 2 losses on the trot now, but we get the bye this week. And then we have a pretty good run home, to be fair. And I've done the old ladder predictor. I reckon if we win 2, maybe 3 of the next 9 games at a minimum, we will certainly be in the top 8. Any more than that helps lock us into the top 4, which I think is where we should be targeting to finish. That's for damn sure. To me, round 22 and round 23, Dolphins at home, Dogs away. Those two present the biggest threats, but apart from that, you have to like the matchups we have for the remainder of the season. So I'm backing our boys to rack up at least 6 out of those 9 games as dubs, finish in the top 4, and then on we march from there. I don't think it's panic stations. I see a lot of Warriors fans absolutely losing their shit now Meta's gone, and Chance, he's going to be a big loss, but he'll be back in 4 weeks' time. All hope is not lost. We still have a bloody good footy side. So strap in, ride the roller coaster, and hang tight, Warriors fans. I promise ya, this team this year, they're built different, and they will bounce back from this adversity for sure. Dolphins 50, Bunnies 28. Another of these games I wanted to look at purely just to highlight this Dolphins offense and how red hot they are. When they are playing that fuck it razzle-dazzle style of footy, they are such a pleasure to watch. I think maybe 4 of the last 5 games now, they've scored over 40 odd points. It's a high octane offense. When they get rolling through the middle and then are allowed to unleash their speed, they are so deadly. And with that young bloke, Isaiah Katoa, pulling the strings like that, he can turn something on from nothing. That try he put on for the hammer, the Shakira hips, they certainly don't lie. That was outstanding. Hammer in game 100 as well, his 100th NRL game, bags himself a quaddie. 4 meaties. I saw as well on Facebook, recently broke up with his misso, Jamie Chapman, so perhaps that was a bit of a get back at your ex game, show them what they're missing out on. He was huge. Herbie Farnworth, he was outstanding. Kurt Donahue, a must-buy in fantasy. Shit, has he been one of the unsung heroes for them so far this year. I was gutted to see 8% Cody Nikarima go down with a hamstring injury because he was playing some unreal code as of late. Scored a try in his 4th straight game on the weekend, but got sniped. Bloody tough scenes. Hopefully he can come back in time for finals too, because he is going to be crucial to the Finns and them going on a run. But just wanted to give them their flowers. One of the best teams to watch in the comp on their day. And then the final game I wanted to touch on, Storm 30, Sharkies 6. And this one blew out a fair bit in the last 20 minutes. But geez, did it have some feeling about it. Of course, the Sharks, they got up over the Storm at Shark Park a couple weeks back. So it was a bit of a redemption game for Bellamy's boys. And they managed to pull it off, I thought. Ali Katoa was outstanding. His combination with Jerome Hughes has proved to be so clutch for them this year. He's another one, second rower, much like our boys, Lecker, Jacob Laban, a big body that's become a great kick target for them. I think he got 2 try assists on the weekend purely by being safe under the high ball, then popping it off. One for Jerome Hughes, actually, the head-geared assassin. So really watching young Ali go about his work. You'd have to put him in what? Top 5 second rowers in the NRL at the moment. Shit, has he come on leaps and bounds since heading to the Melbourne Storm. A big dub for them. Moving on to this week, of course, bye-week footy, Origin affected. Some good news though, Try July kicks off this weekend, so looking forward to seeing some celebrations and seeing what the lads can come up with, all for a good cause, of course. Friday night footy, Dogs, Broncos, probably the game of the round as well. Doggies paying $1.55, Bronx $2.45, and as a Warriors fan, this one's an interesting matchup, and it depends how you want to look at it. Of course, the Dogs currently in second. Do we want them to lose so that we close that gap between them and us? With our bye this weekend, of course, a guaranteed 2 points, so we could bank that. Or do we want the Dogs to beat the Broncos to create a 6-point buffer between us in 4th and them in 5th? Personally, I'm thinking we want the buffer, the old Bruce buffer, although the Roosters taking on the Tigers, I think they're tied for 5th at the moment with the Broncos. They would leapfrog them, and if they were to bank the 2, then that would keep the gap at 4. So yeah, just thinking out loud there, but both teams in this one affected by origin or injury. For the Doggies, they lose Daniel Saluka Fafita to concussion. Then they got Jacob Keres, 18th man for the Blues. A chance he plays too. Big rumours Brian To'o might not lace up in that game. Keres though, playing some unreal code, was bloody good in that loss against the Panthers too. So he would slot in quite nicely, but he's out. Curdy Mam, Max King, Stephen Crichton, all on origin. rotation duties. Then for the Broncos, they're not without their outs either. The usuals, Paddy Carrigan, Payne and the Haas, they both won't be present. Reece Walsh, 18th man, with the hammer getting the start at the back for Billy Slater's boys. And then the bolter, Shibasaki. Who would have thought at the start of the year that Queensland's origin centres would be Rob Toya and Shibasaki? That is crazy stuff. And shout out to Shibasaki as well. Mentioned last week, his last name sounds like a Japanese cuisine, but fuck is he playing some unreal code. I think prior to this year, he'd played 3 NRL games in his last 2 seasons. Still on a development deal. $90K the Bronx are paying him. That is unreal value for money, and you'd have to think right now they are deep in contract negotiations to bump him up. Otherwise, other clubs will be circling for sure. He's basically going to get a third of his year's earnings this year just from that one Origin game, because I think it's still $30K per game in Origin. So well done to him. He certainly deserved it, been a lethal part of that Broncos edge this year, scoring tries for fun, and his combo with Kirapani has been running amok as of late. So a huge backing of confidence there from Billy Slater in giving this bloke a crack. I think he was playing Japanese rugby union a couple years ago. He was that desperate to get himself a gig. No NRL side wanted him. He'd hopped around a fair bit, but now he's certainly found a home at the Bronx, and he's playing Origin footy. Just crazy. But back to this game. Broncos, Dogs, I think this is going to be a real doozy, of course. Brisbane, they upset the Bulldogs earlier in the year, 42 points to 8. I think it was at Accor Stadium too, in the wet. Selwyn Cobbo comes back for this one. A big talking point, fresh off signing a new deal with the Dolphins. A great get for them. That back line, Katoa feeding the likes of the Hammer, Isako, Herbie Farnworth, Selwyn Cobbo. Shit, they are going to be even more deadly. Personally, though, I think the Dogs just get this game. I think they would have taken a lot of confidence out of last week's performance despite going down, because that was some top shelf football. I think their pack will be too strong for the Bronx, missing their 2 best players in the middle there. Some interesting stats though. The Bulldogs have won 5 of their last 6 games at Accor Stadium this year, but they haven't bet the Broncos there since 2019, and the Broncos have won 6 of their last 7 against the Dogs. So if you're having a punt this weekend, Dogs are $1.55, Bronx are $2.45. Perhaps you go that try bet option I'm so fond of, either team 1 to 12. Always like having a flutter on that one, but nuts on the line. If you ask me to get off the fence, I'm probably going to tip the Dogs in a really tight game. Saturday sees a cheeky little double header. Raiders $1.30, Dragons $3.50. Dragons in all sorts for this one. 6 of their 17 players named were playing New South Wales Cup footy last week. They've been hit hard with injuries. Flano having to dig deep into the well. The Raiders, on the other hand, though, they're only missing Big Papa due to his Origin call-up out of retirement. What a story that is. Of course, retired from Origin footy, rep footy altogether, I think, into 2022. Now he is back. He's answered the SOS call from Billy. Billy wanted an enforcer, and instead of going with his Canberra teammate and Corey Horsburgh, old Big Red, he's decided to dust off the cobwebs for Big Papa. Even though I'm a Blues fan, just seeing this news really did make me smile, because man, does that bloke deserve it. But as mentioned, he's gone, so Corey Horsburgh gets to start at prop for him, and Morgan Smithies goes into the starting locking role. Pretty good player to have fill in there. Some stats for you. The Raiders have won their last 4 against the Dragons. The Dragons haven't won in Canberra since 2015 as well. For your try scorers, Xavier Savage, 5 tries in his last 4 games at GIO Stadium. And also Simi Sasagi, who I tipped out anytime last week. Hope you got on. He was paying juicy in the 4s. 420, I think, actually. I actually got on him first, second, or third as well. On my bet slip, he was paying $8. He saluted there. I like him to go in again here, of course, filling in for Hudson Young on that edge. We all know Huddy loves a meaty. Well, it seems Sasagi does as well. So there's a nice little same game multi for you. I just think Canberra, can't see them lose this at home. Up against the Red V side, absolutely shattered with injuries. Surely Sticky Stewart's lads get the job done. Cowboys versus Storm. This could be an interesting game too. And straight away when I look at this, I think think Storm cricket score, but when you look at the stats and the outs, look, both teams really deeply Origin affected, but when you look at the Storm's performances without Harry Grant or Cam Munster this year, they've been pretty bang average. Add to that, the Cowboys have won their last 3 straight against the Storm at Queensland Country Bank Stadium, and they've won 3 of their last 4 games against the Storm in general. I can see a world where this one is pretty tight. I still will be backing Melbourne. I think Hughes, Ali Katoa, Pepe, of course, this Melbourne side, they've still got so much quality in there. I can just see the Cowboys making a game of it. For your try scorers, Murray Taulagi scored 5 tries in his last 5 games against Melbourne. Robert Derby, 6 tries in his last 6 games at Queensland Country Bank Stadium. And Jerome Hughes, 4 tries in his last 3 games. I'm going to go the Storm. I'm also going to go the over points total. But I'll be surprised if the Cowboys roll over in this game. I don't know, those stats, just something in the loins tells me that I think this one could be tighter than expected. Then Sunday, 2 games to round us out. We've got the Chooks taking on the Tigers. Tigers, no Luai or Api. Still a really strong pack name for them though. For Noah Paulet, Terrell May and co. all in the mixer. I just think the Roosters though will have too many weapons in the duffel bag. They've won 18 out of their last 19 games against the Tigers. And I can see them just pulling it off again. You got Marky Mark, Tupou, Tedesco, Hugo Savala and Sandon Smith proving to be a nice combo in the halves as well. Their 4-pack has been pretty hit hard with injuries, but those stats, those factors in mind, it has to be one of the most dominant winning percentages against any other team in the NRL. And I think the Roosters at home will prove to be too strong. The Tigers, alarm bells must be ringing for them internally now, because after a pretty decent start to the year, they've slid massively, and all of a sudden, they are a contender to win their 4th straight wooden spoon. Try scorers in this one, Mark Nwanga Netawasi, 9 tries in his last 7 games. Daniel Tupou, 21 tries in his last 15 against the Tigers. And Sunia Taruva, he scored 4 tries in 4 games against the Chooks. Then Manly versus Bunnies to round us out. Gulls, just the one change for them. Tommy Talau in on the bench in place of Nathan Brown, so nothing major for the Bunnies. Quite a few big changes. Latrell Mitt, that's it. Of course, he will be playing Origin football next Wednesday night. Cody Walker, he is also out, but named on an extended bench, so there is a chance he could play. I just don't think they will risk it. AJ moves to the back as he continues to chase that NRL try-scoring record, but the biggest news from this one has to be the inclusion of the hectic cheese, Brandon Smith, on an extended bench for the Bunnies. There's every chance he makes his season debut, his first game since he did his ACL in round 26 last year when playing for the Roosters. Of course, he was told he was no longer wanted by them. Wayne Bennett threw him out in SOS, finally got his man after the cheese turned down the Finns when Wayno was there and tried to lure him to Redcliffe. So keen to see if the cheese laces up. Limited minutes would be expected on his first game on return. I heard him talking on the bye round, saying that he was hoping to play some cup footy before being thrown back in the deep end of NRL, but there's every chance he answers the SOS here against the Bunnies side as well. Sitting in 16th, down the bottom of the ladder, they are starting to get desperate for wins. And positive news for Rabbidos fans, their stats against Manly are insane. They've won 8 of their last 9 against them, and they haven't lost at 4 Pines since 2019. I still think, though, their 2 outs of Trell and Cody Walker alongside Manly being basically the same team as last week. Still no Hamole Olakawatu, but apart from that, it's probably the best 17 they could put out without having Taniela Paseka and the other injured guys in the mix as well. So I'll back them in for a try scorer. Tolu Kola, he scored in 6 consecutive home games for Manly. He's a great shout at $2 as well to round off your weekend on the Carmichael punt. If you want a cheeky multi as well across the weekend, try scorers, you all know I love some anytime jam. I'm going Kola into Marky Mark and Murray Taulagi for $7. Some decent odds there. Before we wrap up your league chat as well, NRLW, shout out to our girls. Back in the big dance. You love to see it. Of course, COVID, that ruined us in this competition. We were no longer able to compete, but now we are back and ready to run amok. 10 women named to debut for us this weekend, including 4 rugby internationals who I'm incredibly excited to watch. Of course, Michaela Brake, 2-time Olympic gold medal winger, one of the best female athletes we have in this country. She's pound for pound one of the most powerful, so strong, great footwork, and her speed is rapid. I'm so excited to see how she goes in rugby league. We've got Patricia Malipol as well, Blackfern, Opiki champion with the Blues, plays 10 and 12 in Union, named in the 6 jersey here. A strong ball runner, great feet, powerful as well, good kicking game too, and I think she could go great guns in the 6 jersey. Shakira Baker, Shakira, ex-Blackfern, 13 tests for them, plus 12 years on the 7 circuit for the Blackfern 7. She'll lace up in the second row, a powerful ball runner. And then Taisha Ikanasio, who is named in the centres. She's been in the Blackfern 7s team for a while as well now. And she's got plenty of razzle about her. One-on-one, she will ask a lot of questions. And her combo with Michaela Brake, while inexperienced, could prove to be incredibly exciting to watch. Other names that stand out, of course, Emanita Paki in the centres. She's played for the Queensland Origin side too. I believe we've got some injuries, unfortunately, as a result of pre-season, so we're not quite at full strength. Skipper Uppy Nichols, she's the only OG from an original NRLW side to be lacing up too. But in Ronald Griffith, we have a bloody good coach. They seem like a great, connected and well-bonded side. Incredibly great human beings. Met them a couple times. That's what I love about women's sport too. You can throw the Blackferns in this as well. Just so friendly, so open to doing media, getting amongst it. They're just so highly personable and likeable. Our NRLW side is no different, so wishing them all the best. A bloody tough task. First up, taking on the defending champs at Allianz. I think it's 10-2 kickoff, New Zealand time. And I'm really looking forward to that triple header next weekend at the Fortress Go Media Stadium, where it'll be the New South Wales Cup side at about 11 o'clock. Then we roll into the NRLW. Then we roll into the Wars against the Tigers. That right there is a triple header that you don't want to miss. But go the Gals. Hopefully they can pull this off. Of course, big underdogs for this one. But either way, regardless of the result, even if we don't get the dub, it's just great to see us back in this competition. It gives our local players, female players, something to aspire to. They no longer have to leave overseas to chase the dream of playing NRLW. It also gives the kids coming through, the young girls, something to aspire to as well. And it's just great for the Warriors to have teams in every competition. I reckon they're going to go bloody good this year and could be a real surprise package with the Aussie experts writing them off due to our lack of experience in the NRL dub competition. But go get them, gals. I'll certainly be watching up the Wahine. It would be huge if they could kick their season off with a massive upset win. Right, rolling into rugby, and 3 results to quickly gloss over before we sink the teeth into that first All Blacks test this weekend in Dunedin. Shout out to the Māori All Blacks, 53 points to 20 over Japan. First half incredibly tight, and this was a great game to watch. Both teams loved throwing the footy round, and both scored some great tries too. It was bums on seats stuff for sure. The Māori All Blacks, though, really hit their straps in the second half for a team that only assembled together on Wednesday, landed in Japan. Such a short turnaround. Shit, did they play some great code. I thought our attack shape looked deadly as well. We were led around the paddock perfectly by Rivers Reihana, who carried over his Super Rugby finals form. I thought other standouts for me, Curdy Eklund, the skipper, he was great at hooker. Zahn Sullivan, he was unreal at the back. Another guy who, if he could just string together multiple long periods of play without having injuries, I reckon a black jersey, the All Blacks jersey, would suit him perfectly. A long kicking game, a big body, so silky with ball in hand. I thought he was great in this one. Jonah Lowe, he was deadly out on the edge as well. And Gideon Rampling in the centres. I thought the opportunities he got for the Chiefs this year, he looked to be sharp. He played really well here in the 12 jersey. Some rumours he's heading off to Japan next year. Hopefully that's not the case. I think he's another one of these guys. If he hangs around, he could find himself playing at higher honours eventually too. But well done to to the Māori All Blacks, a big dub from them as they look to prepare for their game this weekend in Whangarei against Scotland. That should be a good watch. British and Irish Lions pumped the force, 54 points to 7 as you'd expect. Finn Russell, Marcus Smith, their combination looks sharp as they continue to build towards this Wallabies series. And then South Africa, 54 points to 7 against the Barbars. I was excited about this Barbarians team on paper, but shit, up against the might of the best side in the world at the moment, they just dominated them. Their bomb squad was massive, impact off the bench was huge, and they were just too clinical. Set piece too strong, and I enjoyed how they played with the ball a little bit more. The Tony Brown effect is starting to come through in their game. They look deadly. Shit, are those games against the All Blacks here in New Zealand going to be mouth-watering later on in the year. But speaking of the All Blacks, of course, they take on France this weekend, Forsyth Bar Stadium in Dunedin. The bookies giving the French no chance. They're paying $7. It's not a full-strength French side, but also it's still not that bad. They have some great depth in French rugby at the moment, and while they're missing some of their biggest names, they still have some decent players that are taking the trip over. So the $7 odds, I think, is pretty disrespectful, especially considering the All Blacks so often, first test of the year, we can be a little bit rusty. I do think we win, and win in that 11 to 20 point margin. That's my best bet for this game. But $7 head to head, that's cricket score expectations right there. Of course, the team hasn't been named at time of recording. I believe that comes out today for all of you listening on your Thursday. But instead, thought I'd run you through the team that I hope it's going to be and then insert the players that I think Razor will go with. I will note Tamaiti Williams, of course, out with a knee injury. And there is a bit of chat around the possibility that Will Jordan could be out. Picked up a bit of a bump in the Super Rugby final too. Has been training in a limited capacity, but he's not 100%, so it just comes down to whether Razor and co want to risk him in the first game of the year. I tell you what, between him and Tamaiti in particular, because I think he got injured in that quarter final, took the semi off and then came back for the final, clearly still not 100%. Perhaps he's risked his international season just to get himself a Super Rugby title, which, hey, fair enough to him. He pulled it off. They got the dub, but that's pretty ballsy stuff there from the big fella. But the team that I would personally trot out if I was Razor for this weekend, gone with a bit of razzle, some debutants as well, but also some fairly established All Blacks. In the one, because of no Tamaiti, I've gone with Ethan de Groot, with Lomax, the other prop, and Cody Taylor in the middle. I believe Cody as well, 4 games off, becoming the latest All Black Centurion, so congrats to him. Injuries aside, you'd have to think he gets there this year for sure. Tupou Va'i and Scotty Barrett for me in the locking roles, with Samipeni Finau at 6, Ardi Savia at 7, and Christian Leo Willie at 8. I don't think they will go with this. I think they might go Jacobson at 7, Ardi at 8, or Duplessis Karifi at 7 and Ardi at 8. Personally though, I just want to see Ardi play 7. I truly believe that is his best position, although he's a bloody world-class player still at number 8. I think Leo Willie had some good form for the Crusaders this year, and he's a more than capable replacement for Wallace Satiti, who of course has been ruled out of these tests with the French as well. At 9, I had Cammy Roigard. At 10, Damian McKenzie. Under the roof at Forsyth, I reckon we should try play fast and show the French the flair that we have in our squad at the moment. In the midfield, I've got Geordie Barrett. Despite him just coming back, I reckon he'll be good to go. A few people saying he might need some more time to adjust back to the New Zealand climate, get over his jet lag, etc. after spending the season playing in Europe. But I've seen him, seems like he's been at Te Arai Links almost every day over the last couple of weeks, so surely the cobwebs are gone and he will be good to go. At 13, I have Billy Proctor. I think he is the best player for us in the midfield at the moment. Then on the wings, Imoni Narawa and Rico Ioane. And there has been some chat around Reeks playing on the wing too. Photos emerged of him at All Blacks trainings wearing the 11 bib. I don't like to read too much into that because quite often that can be just thrown out there, with no real meaning, and it can throw people off. But I do think the makeup of the squad this year, I think that Razor is seriously considering this. Caleb Clark, for me, been out of form this Super Rugby season. And while Sevu Reece is a really good footballer, and I think that Razor will go with Sevu in the 14 jersey, I would love to see him throw Reeks out there in the 11, allow him to get one-on-one, use his speed and his power. I still think this is his best position, plus it allows Proctor then to play 13. I think this call ticks every box, so hopefully Razor agrees. At 15, Will the Thrill Jordan. If he's not available though, then I would go Bodie Barrett there off the bench. Tauki Aho, Ollie Norris on debut, and Fletcher Newell. In 19, another debutant in Fabian Holland, although I think they might go Patrick Tuipulotu there. In 20, I had Duplessis Karifi. 21, Cortez Ratama. 22, Ruben Love can play 15 and 10, gives us utility value, plus he can play on the wing if needed too. And then in 23, the ultimate utility, you can play him in the midfield, you can play him on the wing, you could even play him at flanker. Jim Tavatava Nawai, the walking brick wall. Fuck, would it be good to see him make his All Blacks debut on his home stadium as well. The ultimate recognition for an unreal Super Rugby campaign. So I have 4 debutants off the bench and a pretty Rasley side there. I don't know if that's the way Razor is going to go. In particular, I think Sevu Reece will be in there. I think Jacobson could come into the flanking roles with Artie at 8 as well. And I do think if available, Will Jordan is available, I think Bodie might get the nod over D-Mac at 10. But that's my side. That's Surly's want to be 23, you could dub it. Interesting to see how Razor goes this afternoon. I just want to see him dare to be a bit brave this year. Mix things up. Give it a red hot crack. Play specialist players in their correct positions and see what results come off the back of that. I think the French will put up a good fight in this first test, but I do expect us to sweep them 3-0. So let's experiment a little before we take on the might of South Africa and co. come September. So fingers crossed we see a couple big selections. Thursday, Arvo, when Razor names his squad. Really looking forward to this, though. Whenever the All Blacks are out on the paddock, you best believe I'll be tuning in. Just so happens Warriors bye week, so they should get plenty of eyes on screens as well. The other big games, Māoris taking on Scotland and Whangarei, 3:35pm kickoff. Mentioned that one in passing before. I like the Māoris to get up in that game, paying $1.52, favourites as well. Scotland, of course, without their Lions lads, but still a pretty decent team. Then on Sunday morning, you have South Africa taking on Italy. Shout out to Italy, playing $21 to win the game head-to-head. No one giving them a shit show in hell. Argentina taking on England as well in Argentina, paying $1.36. I like the RGs to get up there. So a pretty big weekend of international footy. Of course, All Blacks, the main event. So looking forward to that one at the Sistema Lunchbox on the Saturday night. Get up the ABs. Right, that's us for Surly this week. A little bit shorter and sharper. Promise we'll go back to the full length next week and try to tee up another guest for you as well. As always, if you're playing grassroots sports this weekend, go well. I am taking on Massey quarterfinals for the Mighty Coat and the Prem 1 comp, so fingers crossed we can get the job done. It is lucky loser scenario, and we finish 4th, so there's potential that us and Massey would be that, but still, you don't want to leave your fate in other people's hands. So the goal out there is to go and get the dub, and hopefully that does happen so we can advance into a semi-final next weekend. But if you're playing this weekend, whatever the code may be, then all the best. Get up the mighty ABs as well, and up the women's NRLW side, the mighty Warriors, lacing up for the first time in a long time. Go and get them, gals. Otherwise, I'll catch you back here, same time, same place next week. Remember too, Golf Day tickets on sale Sunday. Stay tuned for more details on that on Friday via the Surly Talk Sports social medias. But go well, have a good one. Big Fizz.